Up early this morning with gloom on my head. Had a big feeling to climb back in bed. Then I looked in the mirror and somebody said, wake up, it's time for you to lose the blues, and this is a very special treat. Tell it to everyone you meet, that life is all for living and love is all for giving, so this is a very special day. Tell it to everyone along the way that this is a very special day.
A very special day we do have. It is a terrific Wednesday, and we are on the air, guys. Hey, break it up. What I'm saying is they're going to pin me. We got wrestlers in here. I better be careful, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to be pinned on the...
As soon as we want them to talk, they're going to be like, what?
What? Wait, watch, I know. Watch it go silent. Remember the frog? Remember that? What's that cartoon where they said he can sing, and then when he brought him for everybody, he didn't sing? Yeah. Well, we know these guys can talk, so that's awesome. And we're going to meet them just a second. I do have Bradley Gilbert as my co-host this morning on Wednesday, our Education Wednesday. And good morning, Bradley.
Good morning.
You kept sitting between these guys. That's awesome.
The pre-show stuff was pretty cool.
No, I love that. And let's thank our sponsors.
All right, we've got Mountain View Healthcare, Walmart, Salem Crossing, Hoosier Upland, Celebrity Home Loans, Dr. Blackside Associates, Dr. Mindy Gunn, Fox Lee Wealth Management, and American for Prosperity.
Yay! It is West Washington's day to shine, and we do have our own wrestling coach, Dennis Tankersley, who's no stranger to the radio station. And Dennis, I'm a big fan of yours, and know that you always are very good and very talented, and I think it's very much a blessing that West Washington has you. And you brought in a couple of guys with you, Mason Jones and Wyatt Johnson, and so glad Johnson, sorry. I'll get it right. Sorry about that. Which we had on just a few weeks, or actually
last month.
Yeah, that's awesome to get you back. Boy, a banner time for us. Lucky.
Yeah.
Lucky.
You guys are riding high pretty good right now. So.
That's right. Definitely. So let's do some things. Let's get some things out of the way. It is the 8th day of February. Today is Boy Scouts Day. Anybody been a Boy Scout?
Never Boy Scout.
Okay.
I believe I was a Boy Scout for like 3 days maybe.
Okay, all right. So
do we need to know the story behind that? Now that would be
badge of incompetence. There you go.
A long time ago. I don't really remember.
Okay. Short career of a Boy Scout. I was a Girl Scout. Okay. All right. Laugh and get rich day. Boy, think about that. Think if you got money for every time you laughed, right? I mean, wouldn't that be great?
You'd be a billionaire.
Yeah, me too. National Kite Flying Day. Brad, you like to fly a kite?
no. I mean.
Yeah. You think it's going to happen?
No.
Okay, Mason?
I don't really understand the fun of flying a kite.
Okay, it's
I'm with
exciting.
Mason right
Okay,
there. It's
Wyatt?
like what?
I was never any good at it, so
All right.
that was never my thing.
All right, I'll be the odd man out. I love flying kites.
Ah.
It's like, I love it. It's one of my favorite things. My wife's family lived on top of a hill, and one Easter we flew a kite that, I'm not joking, was probably 1,000 feet of string on this thing. It was crazy.
Love that.
It was pretty cool. Yeah, so far that we got the pretty sure we just cut it and it went to like Madison probably.
I love that. No, you know what? You're not the only one in the room because I love it too. I love flying a kite, and I tell you what, if you go like also to a beach,
Oh, we do it on the beach.
I love flying kites on beaches. You know what I mean? So let's go to the beach, and I'll show you guys how to fly a kite. Okay?
I don't think I've ever flown a kite. So.
Oh,
You didn't do a whole lot, girl.
Well, that's why you don't like it. You've never done it.
that's it.
Probably true.
Well, if you had stayed a few more days in Boy Scouts, you would have learned.
Probably.
The physics behind it.
I don't know if they do flight or kite flying, but anyway, I love I'm with you, Dennis. Yeah, I love to fly a kite. National Molasses Bar Day. And have you ever had a molasses bar?
I've not.
Okay, this is so funny. Okay, this is today because I have not pre-read this. And I was just at Walmart yesterday, and there was a gentleman that asked me, he said, "Do you know anybody that makes?" And I don't know why he thought I could be that person. You are sadly mistaken, sir. You must be. I don't know where you think this, but he said when he was nice. I don't mean that bad, but I'm thinking I'm not the person. But he said, "Do you know anybody that makes molasses cookies?" And I'm like,
your mom makes a lot of stuff, Mason.
She can probably make those.
She probably can make those.
I don't know what a molasses cookie is, so I don't know about that.
okay, well, and then he went on further. He said, do you think of anybody that would? And I'm thinking, I'm not Betty Crocker. I'm not, I am not I'm in this aisle just by walking through it, going to another aisle.
The Sugar Bush Festival's coming up soon, isn't that?
Maybe they do have that, yeah. Well, anyway. So I hope, and so I am trying to find the molasses cookie for this gentleman because I feel like that's an ultimate goal. You know what I mean? And so anybody that can make it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe your mom can. Let's see.
I'm
Put
sure
her on the
she
spot.
She probably can.
Oh yes, let's do that. So, but today is molasses bar day, opera day. You guys like the opera?
Huge fan.
Right?
Especially how I get like hyped up, like pre-match.
Are you being serious?
Tool and
Oh, I didn't know. Oh, I didn't
Tool
know.
came out with an opera album. He would listen to.
That's right.
There you go. There you go. It could be a rock opera,
Oh
and
my
it
God,
would work,
I
right?
love that. I love that. I didn't know. You know what I mean? I didn't, to each their own, right? Propose day. Nothing of that today.
Yeah, no.
Onward
no.
ho. This is 6 days before Valentine's Day, and so what are you going to do? Propose before Valentine's Day? When you wait the 6 days, right? Maybe they.
You would think,
Yeah, you would think. One would think, right? Yeah. All right. Okay. So we got 6 days till Valentine's Day. I've got to remind everybody, Wslm will be turning 70.
Yes.
The radio station. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I know.
Clarify that.
Clarify that real quick. And so that's exciting. Also, we got the big game coming up on Sunday. So, Brad, who are you going to root for the big game? Oh, does it hurt? Is it painful?
Yes.
Is it painful?
I cannot make myself root for the Eagles. So, by default, I'm going to have to go with the Chiefs.
Okay. All right. What about you, Mason?
Well, I haven't watched a football game this year,
Ah.
so I'm going to go with the Chiefs.
Okay. All right. Okay. What about you?
I'm a pretty big NFL guy, but I'm rolling with the Chiefs. I like Patrick Mahomes.
Oh yeah.
So.
He is. Yeah. Well, how'd you feel when he got pushed and he sprang? And has anybody been staying up with his ankle? Is he doing okay?
It's still bothering him, so like, obviously he's just gonna play through it. But,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's gonna be a good game.
Yeah.
Mahomes is pretty special. So.
Yeah. So like, if you guys were in wrestling and you hurt you guys would go ahead and just onward ho, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I think you would too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of the
Okay,
name of
you
the
did.
game. With Patrick Mahomes too. I mean, even injured or not, those guys are there to perform. So
Yeah.
when you see people on that level work through things like that, that's just a special part of it. I think. I always tell these guys an injured animal is the most dangerous animal. I say that a lot. So if you get injured in wrestling and stuff like that, still got to fight.
Wait, that is so interesting. Wait, hang on. Stop right there. Okay, hang on. I got to hear more. What now? An injured animal.
Yeah,
I never heard this before.
They're already in like a distressed moment, so it's hard to approach an injured animal like a dog or something like that.
Yeah.
It's injured. You go and you touch that injury and things like that. They might act differently than they would normally. So it's kind of a more dangerous situation when they get injured. So they're in that fight or flight moment, and they can't fight, so they're gonna fight.
Hello, boy. That's like a good food for thought for the morning, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's true. It makes I just never really thought of that.
Yeah. And I know it's radio, but last time Mason was here, he had a black eye.
Yeah, I know. He was proud of that too. Yeah.
Badge of honor.
He was sporting that. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. But Dennis, did you say who are you rooting for? Are you going to go for the Chiefs?
Probably the Chiefs. Yeah, I think they're gonna pull it out. So.
Yeah. Well, I do have real quick, and I know we're going to jump in and we're going to get into this, but I do want to real quick go. I thought this was kind of cool. Anybody betting on the? Because I don't promote betting, but real quick.
Underage betting.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, but real quick, you can bet on like the length of the national anthem. Who's singing the national anthem this year? I don't even remember who is. I know. Okay, you can bet on the length of the word "home of the brave." Home of the brave. How long?
Okay.
The national anthem at regionals was like the longest version of the national anthem I've ever heard.
What'd they do?
There wasn't even English in part
Yeah,
of it.
they
It was
switched
What?
languages.
Yeah,
It's
they
like
added
5 minutes
lyrics.
long.
It was like the 2022 remastered or something. There's
Yeah.
something going on there.
Yeah, he didn't listen to that before, I don't think. He just picked the first one. It was an interesting thing.
Oh, wow. Wow. So did he hold out the word brave? Was it held out?
Everything was held out. I think.
Come on.
14
Let's
different
do
people
this.
singing it.
Okay, will there be scoring drive that's shorter than the national anthem? These are things you can bet on. Will a player record an octopus? Do you know what that is? I did not.
Like,
And I know
No
football.
idea.
I know football, and I didn't realize this. It's when the same player who scores a touchdown also scores the 2-point conversion. It's 8 points. You get it?
that makes sense.
So see, I just didn't
Yeah.
know the term. I knew that it was out there, but that's not gonna. So they say bet no because that's not gonna probably happen. they're telling you how to bet on this. Will both Jason and Travis score a touchdown?
Well, one of them's an offensive lineman.
Yeah, you can win big money betting on this because the chances are less than 1%. Right? Okay, what song will Rihanna sing first at the halftime show?
I don't know where
Umbrella.
Rihanna's song.
Umbrella.
See, okay, hang on. That's hilarious. That's exactly what I said she'd start off with Umbrella. But you know what it says here? Or what do you think, Brian?
I don't know.
She's going to start off with Don't Stop the Music.
Okay.
I'm anxious to see this, okay? What color eyeshadow will Rihanna wear? Clear or none? You guys got to bet on that. What will the Eagles quarterback Jalen throw first, a touchdown or an interception?
Interception, hopefully.
Which beer commercial will be first?
Bud Light.
They say
Probably.
37% say Budweiser.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. All right, there you go. So if you're doing some betting, there's some ideas there, I guess. But not that anybody in this room is doing that. Okay,
No.
right?
No.
Those are just kind of fun things you can do at home, right?
Yeah.
For your own Super Bowl party. All right, let's jump in. West Washington, you guys are rock stars over there, and Mason and Wyatt. Since we spoke last time we spoke, you had it was a Wednesday, and that Saturday you had a big tournament, and you just are coming back strong and winners, right?
But yeah, we've been on a pretty good run here.
Roller
lately,
coasters,
so.
yeah. So tell us what happened. Let's take off. Give us the story of what happened since the last time we spoke.
What was it? That was PLAC week. So
Yeah, so before sectional.
yeah. Okay. So we had conference. I didn't actually get to wrestle at conference, but Mason got a good match in. But no, we won as a team. That's the most important thing. That's the part I always look forward to is winning as a team.
Fourth straight.
So that's 4 straight. Yeah. Like Tank told me,
That's
like
awesome.
the next day we're the first sports team in our school's history to win 4 straight conference titles. So I thought that was really cool. Then it's sectional week, so it's tournament time. I'm to prepare. So just looking at the brackets all week, we both got the 1 seed. I won't talk about how Mason did, but I had a pretty good day. Went 3-0, sectional champ, felt pretty good. First in school history. So
Oh, so you broke a record?
yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Talk about this. I'd be telling it. I'd have a T-shirt.
Yeah, he's pretty modest, but
Yeah.
I think you're on a run right now. You haven't been before sectional. I think he went 4 meets without even being scored on.
Oh wow.
Yeah, no one scored a point on him, an earned point in 12 matches, which is a big deal. So
That's a huge deal.
yeah, so we won the SIWC at Southwestern, not a point scored on him. Won PLAC, which no one in his weight class, or they moved out of his weight class, or whatever they did to not wrestling.
What is the PLC? What's that mean then?
Patoka Lake Athletic Conference.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's us, and which there's 4 teams in our conference there: Crawford County, Paoli, Mitchell, and us.
Okay.
So we're the 4 teams in there.
So when you you wrestled 3 times in one morning or one day?
Yeah, the most you can do is 5. But,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, for sectionals there's 3 matches.
So how does that are you more do you feel like your performance is better the first, second, or third? How do you do you get better, get a little bit warmed up?
Yeah, Tank probably knows. Usually my first match is not my greatest, and then after that I'll usually wake up and I'll be a lot better. So usually it's getting that first match out of the way, So yeah, definitely my first match is usually my slowest, but after that, I'm pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. I'll agree with him. And it's not so much as waking up. I think it's just that getting prepared for that mentally. That first round is always, every tournament we went to this year, that first round is always like, we try to do a pregame to where they're ready to go. Like, that we want to fight in before we actually step on the mat and do that. And it's hard to simulate that kind of match with a partner and things like that. And, something we're still working on every year, trying to get that first round for everybody where they're prepped and ready to go as soon as the whistle blows. So, yeah, definitely wrestles a lot stronger in those later rounds.
Right. That's awesome. And I've got to talk to you too. I've got a lot of questions for you, Dennis, because let's talk about. And I feel like I'm going all over the page here. I didn't do this in the order that, because I really want to hear about where we're going and what to do next. But Dennis, let's talk about, because you've got a rich history, a long history with wrestling, and you and your dad were probably the first ones. You were the trailblazers for wrestling in our area. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. So I was I was in 6th grade, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
So I had a friend, one of my best friends. He was a wrestler. We didn't have wrestling in Washington County yet. We both went to Eastern, junior high and high school, and he wrestled for a club over at Floyd Central. So his dad, Jeff Trainer, was a big, one of the big reasons why we got it. Took it to the school board. They needed a coach. We actually had a coach at Eastern that had wrestled in college. So they bought a mat. We started wrestling in 6th grade, and so they didn't have a varsity season until our freshman year. So I was a 6th grader. He was a 5th grader. So my freshman year was our first varsity season. We went through several coaches. That guy coached 1 year, and then after that it was kind of, we need somebody to step in and take the job. Kevin Keltner actually stepped in and did it without knowing pretty much anything about wrestling. But he was a big part of keeping it going, I think, back then, because not knowing anything about a sport, trying to teach everyone who knows nothing about a sport, and back then it wasn't like it is now, where information was just everywhere. You could look up everything, So we were watching Carl Adams technique videos on VHS for practice, that's a throwback right there. But yeah, it was one of those things that my background was martial arts. My dad kind of got me into that early on. I'm not a very tall guy, so basketball wasn't really my thing. I didn't really like riding the bench, so this was something that I felt like I could excel at. I learned early on that it was just one of those things that it's how much time and energy you're willing to put into something, that's what you're going to get out of it. And that's pretty much how I coach now, too, so.
Right. Well, I think too, it would be difficult. Like you're saying, because you were like the first in the county to do this, and trying to get others to buy into it, trying to get others to, like your own classmates, because wrestling was a new, some couldn't get their head wrapped around the concept, and didn't know much about it, and of course, a lot of parents had never been around it, so it was hard probably to get a lot of people to buy into it. Probably.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a hard thing
to buy into.
Not a lot of alumni. Yeah, definitely. Especially with starting it brand new out at West Washington. The labor pool for anybody who knows anything about wrestling is very, very shallow. My assistant coach, Wyatt's dad, whenever we had the board meeting and said we were going to have wrestling and I was going to be the coach, I remember the day I met him, I was on the football field after a football game, and he walks out, and that was the first introduction. He was like, "I heard you're going to be the wrestling coach." And I was like, "Did you wrestle?" He said, "Yep." I'm like, "You're my assistant coach." That's literally how that conversation went. We
be careful who you talk to.
I know, you got to do the background check first.
Yeah.
No, but he's been great. He brings something to the table that I don't have. We're pretty good. We work good together. We've been doing this now together for 6 years, and it's kind of strange in the practice room and things like that. Like, he'll come to me and be like, "Hey, I think we might need to work on this today," and I'll be like, "That's literally what we were going to work on today." And drills and things like that, we're pretty in tune with the stuff that we're trying to get the guys and girls to work on, and it's been been a good relationship ever since the start, I think. So, and the admin out there are super supportive. You know, Keith's always been supportive. You know, it's funny because there's not a lot of knowledge of the sport for a lot of people. So, you know, athletic director, he kind of lets us do. You know, he's like, hey, just tell me what you need and we'll make it happen.
Well, I think that you bring up some great points though too. But it's crazy because within 6 years, I mean, it's like exploded. Now, like it's like awesome. I mean, it's like really taken off. I mean, in that, I'm sure from going from, if you will, almost a zero to now a hero. I mean, isn't that crazy to see how awesome it's gone now?
Yeah, I mean, the greatest thing about wrestling in my mind is seeing growth. I mean, seeing kids go from where they start to where they finish, and both of these guys in here can tell you, you know, the successes that they're seeing now aren't because of this last year or the last 2 years. It's because of the journey that they've been on. You know, Mason has made a, you know, we tried to look at videos from him 2 years ago to try to scout a kid he wrestled, and it was painful to even watch those matches. Because he's just such a different person, and the amount of time and effort that these guys put into the sport, it's, you know, it's unrivaled to anything else. I mean, there's times when we don't have scheduled practice that they're in the wrestling room, these two guys, and they're bringing other people with them. So seeing that growth it's an amazing thing. It really is.
Yeah, well.
Today's Mason's birthday, by the way.
Well, happy birthday!
Thank you.
Happy
He hasn't
birthday
said
to
much.
you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mason. Happy birthday to you. Well, you're going to be spotlighted next, so I'm not going to leave you out because we're very excited. And last time, you know, you came in, you know, I was very impressed. I'm impressed. I like you guys the way you support each other. I love the relationship you two have, that you support each other, and that to me, I mean, I noticed that right off with you guys, and I love that. But Mason, going back, because last time you had to really get yourself in shape and get ready. I mean, you're quite an athlete. And, I mean, do you love the payoff of it all? I mean, or is it sometimes just like, oh, it's worth it?
Yeah, I love it all. The cutting weight and everything like that, I don't really dread it, honestly. I think it's just part of it, and I honestly enjoy it. Sounds kind of crazy, but gaining a bunch of weight and then losing it for some reason is just fun to me. And then, yeah, the payoff of when you step out on the mat and come away with the win, it's something you don't really understand until you've done it.
Okay, so we know Wyatt did 3 the other day, so how many, what's your, tell us about your match.
At conference, I only had 1 match, and it was pretty short. It was like a minute, and I won. And then at sectionals, I wrestled 2 matches. I wrestled in semifinals and then the finals where I actually lost. And then at regionals, wrestled 3 matches and I won.
Oh, wow. So are you like Wyatt in that you get a little bit better as you wrestle like that too?
Yeah, first match is usually a little bit rough, and then second match is really where you kick it in, unless it's like at regionals where there was a finals match after, because then you're obviously excited for that, and that's where it kind of the best.
Arguably, though, at regionals, his first match, I believe, was probably his toughest match, and he showed out. I mean, it was one of those matches where anytime you're wrestling Jeffersonville, those guys are prepped and ready, and he came out and had a clear vision. I mean, even though the kid was seated, you know, did he get 4th at his sectional or third at his sectional? Yeah, 3rd, because you got 2nd at our sectional. You know, that was a match that we were looking at as potentially, you know, it was either you go on or you go home. And he came out and just a smart wrestler. I mean, he wrestles with his mind as much as his body, and went out there with a good game plan and smothered the guy with takedowns and good riding technique, and he's an awesome scrambler. I would argue play one of the best scramblers I've seen in 17 years of coaching, honestly. So yeah, he's modest too. He's not going to talk too much about that, but yeah, it's a fun match anytime he wrestles. So just enjoy watching him wrestle.
So you got a lot of firsts. So you've got both of these guys over 100 wins, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Sectional champion and first time West Washington had regional champions, right?
That's the first time in the county.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
okay.
fantastic.
So
Yeah.
that's
Especially to have
awesome.
2.
Yeah.
If you're a stats person, this is a way to look at it. So there's 16 regionals in the state of Indiana. There's 14 weight classes. That's 224 kids get to say they're regional champions every year. So these two guys right here are amongst 16 other people in their weight classes that were regional champions in the entire state of Indiana this year.
Oh,
It's impressive.
yeah, very impressive. You guys are so lost. Again, I would have a T-shirt that says this. Okay, everyone stop and read this T-shirt because this tells everything.
Regional champion
That's
coming
right.
through.
That's right.
That's what it would
That's
say, right?
I'd have some music playing.
Yeah.
I did
If
announce
I were
that.
you,
You'd have
I'd wanna be
Rihanna.
me.
You'd have Rihanna following you
That's
through,
right.
right?
I did announce that when they walked into school on Monday, kind of embarrassed them both. So my classroom's right in the gym, so as soon as they walked through the doors, it was a pretty loud ovation for me. Ladies and gentlemen, here they are. So.
And it was all the way across the gym, so he was yelling it.
There's a lot of time between like me walking in and me walking all the way over there. So.
I feel like you guys need. Do you get belts like those big belts? Remember on
We should
Saturday
definitely do
morning?
that.
Yeah, Dennis. If you don't get these guys belts, I mean, come on. You know what I mean? I know they have them over at Walmart, but you know you could bling them up a little bit. You know what I mean? Make
Yes.
it more personal.
Be
You know,
like
these guys-
Tyrus, like come into WSLM
Oh,
with their
I would
belts over
love
their
that
shoulder.
so much.
That
Please
would-
come in. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And it would take me a day just to figure out what music I wanted to play when you guys walked in. There's so many ways to play this because it's pretty awesome. But going back, okay, you said a minute. Is that fast or I don't know what's like the longest and what's fastest and what do we?
You guys know the answer to this?
Well, the periods are 2 minutes each, and there's 3 periods, so it can go up to 6 minutes. Or if you go into overtime, it can go even longer. It could be like a 9-minute match, really. But 1 minute, ending it in the first period is pretty quick.
So your muscles tired?
After that one, no.
Oh no! I get the minute. Okay. Yeah.
He's like, no.
No, I get that. You know what I mean?
After a full-on like long match, like after the regionals, where
Yeah.
they were all like, not all of them were 6 minutes, but 1 6-minute long match. Yeah, your muscles get very tired.
Yeah, my finals match actually went 6 minutes, and after I won, everybody was trying to like come celebrate with me, but I could not stand up anymore. Like,
Oh.
Yeah, I had to make him
I just hit the ground.
Oh.
Leaving it all out there,
I
right?
would too. So when you're wrestling someone, okay, let's say that it is that 6 minute. You know what I mean? And everybody's. I mean, come on. You know what I mean? That's a 6 minutes. You can do a lot in 6 minutes. I mean, that's a long time actually.
Yeah.
So do you guys look at each other like, take a deep breath? I mean, like, is your person that your opponent is your opponent like? Do you guys sometimes have a little understanding like, let's take a deep breath real quick and then get back at it?
No, I just want to push the pace. And
Anybody
It's
like
like,
say, wait, just a second here, let me catch my breath,
You
and I'll
hope
be.
they take a break.
I want them to be tired, and even if I'm tired and they're tired, they're going to be more tired.
Okay, so Eye of the Tiger. I mean, like, do you catch their eyes? Like, I mean, is it like, do you say things to them in their ear? Like,
Some people do, but I've never done that, no.
yeah.
No, for the most part, like the most I'll do to like get their
Gonna
head is like
beat
I'll
you
rush
up.
back to center or something. Like I'm just not gonna be the one. Like when the period ends, I'm not gonna be the one sitting on the mat. You know, I'm gonna be the one on my feet. You know, starting to walk back to the center. So it's really just about the hustle and about getting set before they do. That's kind of the only way I'll try to get in their head.
So it has to be. I love when Dennis said that it's mind. Okay, like you're mentally. I mean, you have to be. I mean, mentally, you go somewhere that like a lot of us don't know. I'm saying like okay, like just like running. Running's like such a mental, like a a distance runner. You know, what I mean, mentally has to prepare for this. And in this too, because when you're really in the ring with someone and all of this is going on, you mentally have to stay on it, right? I mean, what's going through your mind?
For me, it's just winning the match, really. Scoring points and trying to outwork the other person.
It's really crazy to me because I don't know. I don't think I have a whole lot going through my mind. I don't really overthink it too much. It's just I got one goal and I'm gonna just win every position, every period. I'm not really thinking ahead a whole lot. Not thinking about, man, I really need to win this match. I'm just thinking I'm gonna wrestle. I'm just gonna do what I do.
Do you get angry?
Not until I lose, but I don't think there's anybody that hates losing more than I do. But not during the match. I usually don't. I try to keep my cool.
I was an angry wrestler.
I get angry.
I definitely was.
Yeah.
I am too. My goal's not to hurt people, but it's a plus. I'm just gonna
Well, no. No, I would be. I think I'd be an angler. Would you, Brad?
Yeah.
Oh, I would too.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if I saw that, like, there were some moves, and I mean, yeah.
I have a couple go-to sayings that I try to say to them before matches and stuff like, especially if you're cutting weight and stuff like that. I try to feed on that, pun intended, I guess. But like in Mason's sense, if he's cutting like 9 pounds, I'm like, he's the reason. This guy you're stepping on the line with, that's the guy. He's the reason you didn't get to eat your mom's lasagna this week. Like, that's the guy right there.
Oh, I would jump right out of the bucket. Shoot, I'd be mad. I mean, you already crossed me.
Right, absolutely. So do you guys have any, like, certain, every time, before every match, things that you do to get your mindset where you want it to be? Or is it depending on the match?
Well, I mean, I do the same thing before the match. Not really for mindset, but I eat the same sandwich every time. Peanut butter, banana, and honey. I drink a C4 and liquid IV, and then just listen to music and stuff gets me in the mood.
What kind of music?
I don't listen to rap outside of wrestling, but when I'm like getting ready for a match, I listen to rap.
Right.
Yeah, for me, it's like, I'll listen to music before every match, and I'll drink a C4 and stuff, but there's this thing I do, like, when I get out to the mat and I put my ankle band on, I'll face the other way and I'll just jump as high as I can. And I've kind of I started doing it last year, and then there was one point last season where I didn't do it all day and I wasn't doing too good, and my dad was like, hey, listen, you need to do that jump thing again, and then, like, ever since then I've done it for every match. So
It's kind of funny too, because I can gauge like how pumped up he is by how high he jumps. Like his dad and I joke about it sometimes. We're like, pretty sure he could have dunked a basketball right
Yeah,
there.
there's one picture where he jumped pretty much over the ref.
Yeah.
In the picture.
Oh, wow. You were really pumped.
Pumped up.
Yeah. So do you suggest, I mean, you're eating before wrestling? I mean, how does that do when you're wrestling? I mean,
You don't want to eat a lot. That's why I just eat a little bit,
Yeah.
and then pretty much, if it's a big tournament, I'll eat before my first match, and then I don't really eat much for the rest of the day, like a little snack and stuff.
And you have plenty of time too, like from the time you eat to the time you actually have to wrestle, you have plenty of time to like digest your food. So like, we'll weigh in and then we'll go and we'll eat and we'll drink, and then we'll go out and we'll start warming up and stretching out, and that's usually whenever like your food will settle. And then by the time you're wrestling, it don't really bother you no more. So.
is there a certain move that you have a tendency to do that a lot of times you get maybe called out on from the ref or something? Is there a
Crossface.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. And it's funny because I did. Hang on, I did. I looked up wrestling terms. I am ready
Googled
to.
it.
I did. So what's crossface? Hang on. What is?
Literally just like a legal punch into the face.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We are all friends here, okay? You guys are on our team here, okay? We're on the same team. I just want to make sure.
You just can't close your fist or draw your arm back, but open hand to the nose. And that's what Tank told us. If you're tired and you need a break, make the other person's nose bleed.
Yeah.
Wow.
Out of context, that sounds terrible.
Well, it does,
but it's
No,
true.
it's
He's
so
like,
funny.
after the show, he's going to be like, maybe you should have left that off.
Oh, that was like some of those little secrets. Yeah.
That is true though, because so we've got club wrestling out there at West Washington too, and it's something that the contact is something that a lot of people have difficulty with, and as rough of a sport as wrestling is, I mean, even at the varsity level, you still see guys that are kind of timid and things like that, and I teach these guys, it's a rough sport. And we're going to use every aspect of it, and that is definitely a part of the sport. If somebody gets in on your leg or something, we're going to be cross-facing. We're going to be trying to turn you out.
And that's one of those things that in life, it's like whatever profession or sport or whatever you choose, as long as you're doing the legal stuff, that's part of the risk that you have to think about.
Okay.
So long as you're doing stuff the right way, the legal way, then that's just going to be part of it.
It makes people rethink, too. Like, if I shoot in on a guy and he hits a nasty crossface, it kind of makes me think a little bit about the next time I do it. I mean, I love the quote by Mike Tyson where he says everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. So that's kind of...
I love that.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, we're not punching people in the face. We're doing legal crossfaces out there in West Washington. So, although there have been a few instances where, the ref has to step in and be like, hey, let's...
I
We had 5 crossfaces in a row. Yeah.
Yeah, we have
Twice,
an
I think.
extra move called the Mason crossface. You're just punching somebody.
Yeah.
That's the Mason
I did it one time my freshman year on accident. I mean, I wasn't even thinking about it, but yeah, I pretty much just punched him in the face.
I refer to them as fighters a lot. I mean, that being like where I started and where I have, a lot of the mindset that I have coming into coaching this sport, just the fighter's mentality, and a lot of that it's shown in their styles. Like him saying that he wants to press the pace and make the other person tired. I mean, that's the fight game right there. You're going to break before I do. You're not going to outwork me. That's just that fighter's mentality.
Right. So when there's blood, let's say that you've punched somebody or you've cross-faced them.
Cross-faced.
You cross-face, not to be, hang on, whoa, use your words carefully.
Yes, yeah.
When you cross-face and there's blood, so then does that give you a little bit of a break to take a breath?
Yeah.
I'd be cross-facing so I can
Have
get my
to
breath. I mean,
Clean up the blood and
yeah.
put a nose plug in the person's nose. It's still bleeding and stuff, so by the time that happens, you get a little break.
There's a time limit too. So like if you get bloody, they have blood time.
Blood time.
3 minutes, something like that. 4 minutes, I think. 5 minutes.
I don't know why more people don't want to go out for this sport. Blood time.
I like to say,
Sport with blood now.
Yeah,
I like to
blood
say it's
time.
for everybody, but man, for the timid person, the first initial reaction of wrestling is kind of whoa.
Yeah.
For a lot of people.
Yeah,
so.
no doubt.
Yeah,
no
I mean,
doubt.
it was like that for me. I wasn't naturally like, I just want to go wrestle someone. Like, I was kind of scared, honestly, when I first started. But
Well, even the
I've grown
first
over time.
Even the first meet, when our first match ever at West Washington, we took them to Edgewood and they wrestled Floyd Central, New Albany, Ben Davis,
Oh.
Carmel. I mean, I took them to the place where it's like, if you don't know what wrestling is, you're going to know what it is by the time we leave here.
Oh.
And this year, same thing. I mean, we went up to Bloomington North and wrestled Bloomington South, Center Grove, who was probably top 3 in the state, team-wise. Wyatt wrestled a guy who was, was third in the state, ranked third in the state.
Were you nervous?
No, I thought it was a good opportunity.
Yeah.
But going off like blood time, I remember that kid had like 3 blood times already, and so it was like the 3rd break we had, and I went over and Tank was just like, listen, just pop him in the nose again. See if we can run this thing out.
Oh, Dennis, you are interesting.
Hey.
Hey, no, Dennis, going back to that. Okay, so like what I like so taking them like to to other places maybe that's had wrestling longer,
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
maybe have more of a pool to pull from, so to speak, if you will, bigger schools and stuff. And we know there quite a few up north and stuff. But was that something as a coach you felt was very important for your team?
Yeah, we talk a lot about, like Wyatt said, about opportunities and things like that. And, you can argue big school, little school, 5A, 1A, and things like that. But when it comes down to it, it's one-on-one. I don't care
Right.
if you've got 5,000 in your school. You still got to send your best kid out there. And I think out at West Washington, we're sending our best out there every single time. And I think that mentality of, hey, we're going to come up here and we're going to compete with you guys. We do the same moves. We do the same training. They don't have anything we don't have. The only thing they have is maybe more wrestling partners in the room. But aside from that, our facilities are great. Our partners are good. They're people they're wrestling with every single day. And iron sharpens iron. That's what we talk about a lot. And if we're going to be the best, we're going to go up and we're going to fight the best.
Now, do you and White's dad, do you ever wrestle these guys?
Every day.
Do you really?
Yeah.
You get in there and do that? I love that.
Yeah. That's why I've got these skid marks on the side of my face right now.
I
so,
do see that now.
Yeah. It's
Who did that to you?
a junior high kid. So.
Oh.
yeah. He's a pretty tough kid. but
Talk
I
about
mean,
it.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
There you go.
No, it's getting in there. That's a part of the sport that I love too about this is I'm not sitting on the sidelines yelling at them, and there'll probably come a time in my career where I can't, and that word just hurts coming out of my mouth to say I can't. So while I can, I'm not going to sit over there and scream at them and yell at them and tell them what they need to do. I have to show them, and I think it's a mutual level of respect too. That as they see me doing it, there's a part of them that's like, well, this guy's doing it, and he's out here bleeding with us too. I get bloody in practice too, and I wear it as a badge of honor too. I'll run over the trash can, blow my nose out, put a plug in, come right back. And so it's just leading by example. and things like that. And I think they see that, and I think it shows them that, you know, these aren't just words. I'm telling you, you know, you got to live it. And you got to buy into the program. And, you know, nobody's bought into it more than these guys.
So I'm gonna we'll put Coach on the spot after. I'm gonna put you guys on the spot. So if you think about where you started when you first started wrestling to where you are now, regional champions, what do you think? What areas have you grown the most in, and how does that affect your like normal day-to-day non-wrestling life? The lessons you've grown in.
I think the biggest thing for me is just being aggressive and obviously learning moves and skill and stuff, but it's more so the mindset that's changed for me, and I think that will stick with me forever pretty much.
Oh yeah, definitely like a mindset thing and a confidence thing, you know. Like the biggest part is just being able to walk on the mat and knowing that, you know, you're a good wrestler and, you know, you're going to wrestle your match and you're going to do your moves and being in that spotlight and, you know, not like, you know, you gotta be nervous. You gotta be a little nervous, but you gotta embrace it. You know, you gotta get a good feeling from it. So I think the biggest lesson is definitely like being able to walk around with a lot of confidence.
So, Coach, what do you see comparing these two young men to the first time they step foot in a practice to regional champions?
Wow, I could talk a long time about this. I mean, one of the main things for me is seeing their growth. I said that earlier. You know, and understanding what your weaknesses are, and I think that's something that a lot of people shy away from. Most people tend to shy away from something they're either not good at or from failure, and that's something that we deal with every single day. We're going to push to failure, whether it's we're going to do push-ups for a minute. If you could only do 10 this time, you're going to do 15 next time or 20 the next. And seeing their growth of, you know, before maybe it took a minute and a half for them doing like shot drills or up downs or things like that to get them tired where they would quit. And seeing now it's like, you know, my pace on the entire practice is based off of these two and how they're performing the things that we're doing. And you see the others that aren't there yet, and they start to quit, and that's part of wrestling. And it's not quitting to where you're not going to come back. It's that failure where you have to work past those mental limitations that you have, and we talk about those a lot. So seeing their physical, mental, emotional limitations at the beginning and seeing where they are now, I mean, they're miles apart. You know, it's in the past. And, you know, Wyatt said it about confidence. You don't know the kind of confidence you have until you fail at something and then you continue to do it. When you can come back after a failure and say, I'm going to keep doing this until I don't fail. And that's when you're going to get champions. So.
Love that. And Dennis, have you ever been pinned by any of these two?
Well,
couldn't see it on the radio, but Wyatt was shaking his head yes right away.
Here's the thing: is most of the
I
time
had to ask that. I've been chomping on the bit to know
just
that.
a little bit better than them. I try to most of the time. Now, I will say this:
You do it because you let them win.
No. They earn everything.
Look at
I make them earn it, though. I mean,
Casey's like, no way, we pinned that man.
I make them earn it. I mean, it's you know, it definitely is a mental part of it. I mean, I don't know if in my mind, I feel like I'm the white whale out there that's like, man, if I score a takedown on Tank, that confidence boost and things like that.
Oh, you know it, yeah.
And that's me in my mind. I don't know what they think or anything like that, but in my mind, for me to continue on, that's what I think. So when they score a takedown or they get me on back for back points and stuff like that, I feel like they're like, oh, I've accomplished something. So, but I make them work for it. Nothing's easy. Nothing's given. It's all earned.
Yeah. I mean, you're going up against somebody really good.
I will say when Wyatt throws legs in, I hate my life.
When Wyatt does what?
Yeah, when he leg rides, it's pretty painful. He tries to stretch you out and bend you, and yeah, it's not fun. I try to stay out of that as much as possible.
Do you have like a safe word, mistletoe or something? You know? I would have to have a safe word, okay?
I had to tell him last year. I was
Bourbon.
like,
Bourbon.
Stop clubbing me in the back of the head. I was like, it's great for you to do in matches, but just don't do that. That just makes me mad.
During the semifinals, I actually got on the ref's bad side for that.
Yeah.
He hates when I like club the head in practice because, you know, it hurts. But then we'll be in a real match, and he's like, heavy on the head, heavy on the head. And I actually had a ref, like, he had to get on to me a few times for hitting it too hard. So,
Yeah. And Mason's super
Tap, you
fast.
can't-
Like,
yeah.
I can't even protect my feet anymore against him. I mean, it's to the point where, like, I have to keep my hands on the mat in order for him to not get to my feet, because as soon as I lift him off the mat, he's in on them. So, yeah, it's awesome to see where they are now, knowing from where they came. So.
Right. So is there, do you have leg cramps, you guys?
I've never had a leg cramp in my life.
Which I don't want to
until,
say that,
like,
and all of a sudden
last
jinx you.
week.
Oh, what happened? What'd you do?
I had a calf cramp, and
Oh.
I was wrestling our 120 this year, and I like rolled off of him and rolled around on the ground for 5 minutes. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it was hard as a brick.
It was bad. Tank came, like, stretched me out and stuff, and then the next day it happened again in my other calf. I don't know why. It never happened in my life until then. Hasn't since.
Do they stop the match for that? I mean, is that a given? Like, do they allow that?
There is injury time aside from blood time, so
We need cramp time.
I think they make it really dramatic, so they have to. Like,
Yeah.
act like I like broke
Yeah,
my
so a
leg or
little bit.
something.
I think some people flop on it and do that a little bit too much sometimes. Like, oh, I'm injured.
So there's some
they
acting in it.
Yeah, you know that
So
drama.
that's-
Yeah, there we go. So, Wyatt, what about you? You don't get a leg cramp every now and then? What? I don't want to jinx you. Now I'm like, here I am sitting here.
Not typically. My forearms get pretty blasted though.
Yeah.
Like after the matches, like I don't know, I'll just like I can't even like grab nothing because my forearms are just wrecked because I do a lot of grip stuff and a lot of cranking on the head. But then I'll be driving home and then I'll get like a cramp in my forearm and I can't like bend my fingers no more. It's not fun, but legs, no, usually I'm fine.
That's why you need to be chauffeured. Okay?
Yeah.
You need to have the limousine
Yeah.
pick you guys up
Yeah.
and chauffeur you on home. Okay, so when talking about that, you really are taking a lot and putting a lot of abuse, if you will, and which is good abuse, but to your bodies. So how do you, after the match, how do you treat your muscles and Dennis, do you have like a game plan? Do you teach them afterwards, like what to do with their muscles, or?
Everybody's different, I feel like. So it's kind of, there might be one way to do something for one kid and different for another. But, I mean, I'll let them talk about what their post-game is. I mean, sometimes I'll, like Wyatt said about getting his forearms blasted, like, they are. Like, it's to the point where, I mean, they're as hard as bricks, too. So I'll try to raise his arm and rub his forearms out or something like that. But I'll let them talk about it, maybe.
I don't really do a whole lot to like keep from getting sore. I mean, I take little goo gels or whatever for like sodium and caffeine. I'll do those before every match. But usually, my dad's a big believer in like trying to emulate what college wrestlers do, and a lot of them they'll run like sprints after their match to blow their lungs out. And so, if I had a good 6-minute match, I'll usually try and find a hallway and just run a few sprints. But for the muscles, it's really just rest up, don't do anything dumb before your next match.
And I take Epsom salt baths. My mom makes me do that.
Oh, I love that.
I don't know if it helps.
It does.
Yeah, I would. Oh, I've heard.
I don't
Yeah.
know, something that's used to like grow plants. I feel like. It's just weird.
She's growing
And
a
then
son.
I have a massage gun that I got for Christmas a few years ago that I use when I'm sore.
What's that? I did not know that about the running your lungs. So you run afterwards, kind of open your lungs. Is that what we're doing here? That's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
you just kind of get everything out of you, and I feel like for your next match, it's so you got a little bit better of a motor going into your next match.
Yeah, I think, it's that lactic acid buildup in your body after, like, a 6-minute match and going hard like that. Like, it's like runners have the same thing. They'll have that lactic acid buildup. So after that 6-minute match, to go out there and blow your lungs out, and just a sprint and things like that kind of changes the muscle group that you're using. Because in wrestling, you're using, head to toe, every single thing. So,
Yeah, every
yeah,
muscle.
it's
Yeah.
definitely something that it's useful. It helps.
So on your practices, do you practice like do a portion of like weights and like doing that kind of stuff, working out with that, and then a portion of on mat, or how do you? Is it 60-40 or how do you do that, or 80-20 or?
So what's really great out at West Washington, they have advanced PE, and these guys get to lift during the day, so we don't do a lot of
that's
in-season
great.
lifting
Yeah.
and things like that.
Okay.
Max outs were this week. You guys want to chime in on that? What'd you put up?
I did not do squat or power clean. I benched 250, which was a PR for me.
Oh wow.
But I'm trying not to lift super hard this week. I don't want to, just semi-stay this weekend, trying to take it easy for the week. So.
I'm not in advanced stage, so I don't know. I haven't really lifted much since the off-season. Like, I do a little bit of weight training. Just at my house, I have dumbbells, and I'll do chin-ups and push-ups and stuff, but that's about it.
Some of the stuff we do in practice, though, it's all incorporated into it. So I've done stations ever since. I was never a weightlifting guy. That's why Bill, my assistant coach, and I were kind of yin and yang there. He's a big weightlifting guy, so he knows a lot of the things that help for muscle groups and stuff. So some of the stuff that we do stations, and it's literally just like a 30 or 45-second rotation, but it's a full body workout. We're either pulling a rope and with a 45-pound plate attached to it, or doing dips, doing pull-ups. We've got a lot of bands that we, stretch bands, 25-pound medicine balls, or slamming, things like that. Everything we do emulates something that can happen in a match. So the wrestling muscles are your neck and your back, and it's a lot of pulling instead of pushing, which is a little bit different than football. Mostly in football, you're trying to push, whereas in wrestling, we're trying to grab and pull. So.
Well, let's get on that road to semi-state. So tell us what's going on. Tell us what's the lead up, because we're Wednesday and it's this weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
So tell us the steps, take us through this, and who all's going to be there, and where's it going to be? Tell us all the information.
So semi-state, we go to Evansville, and it's at the Ford Center in Evansville. We'll go down Friday night and stay the night in hotel, and then wake up Saturday morning, head over, get a good warm-up, and be ready to go. Anybody wants to go, they're $12 tickets at the door.
That's fair.
Yeah, not bad. And, this week of practice, Saturday was pretty tough for both them guys at regional, so Sunday was kind of taking it easy. Monday was kind of getting back into it. We kind of conversated a little bit about the matches and things like that, so not a lot of physicality on Monday. Yesterday we started stepping back into it, had them doing a little bit of cardio, kind of rolled a little bit. Today we're going to pick up the pace a little bit. Today will probably be one of our harder practices of the week. So just having your wrestlers peak at the right moment, they've done all of the hard work and laid all of the foundation for this week. So anything we do to, kind of hurt their bodies is kind of opposite of what we're trying to do. So it's a bit of a maintain. We want to get some cardio in, making sure we're on weight and things like that. We'll probably do some stations, work on some muscle groups. As far as technique, they'll hit some, we call it play wrestling. We'll go out there and just kind of work through the things that they hit in a match, but not really like 100% defense, offensive wise. But that's kind of our goal for this week is, coming out of regional, the number one seed. Pretty much all the fat's been trimmed off of anybody coming into semi-state. I mean, when somebody says what's their chances? Well, everybody's got the same chance. I feel like it's not, I'm better than this person because of this thing. It's everybody's fighting for their turn of life in the state tournament right now. So we don't overlook anybody. We're not looking at second round for anybody. We're looking at first round, those first 6 minutes. And that's kind of the mentality of these guys too. We don't overlook anybody. We want to go out, take it one match at a time, do what you're good at, understand your strengths, understand your weaknesses, and come out and perform and end up on top.
And have you ever wrestled before there in Evansville?
Yeah, both these guys.
So you're familiar with it. Okay.
Yeah, I made semi-state last year. Little different road to semi-state last year. It's different whenever you get to stand on top of the podium. The way they do it is, so if you win your regional, you're wrestling a fourth place finisher from another regional. But that sounds a lot better than it actually is. I mean, there's some of the regionals up there. That Mooresville regional's pretty tough. I mean, your top four's ranked top 10 in the state. So the fourth place kid's going to be, everybody's stud wrestlers at this point.
So no swimming when you're there?
Yeah, I will swim a little bit.
Oh, I thought like athletes weren't allowed to swim
no, I'm
before.
not swimming.
We're not going to swim laps.
The hot tub's where it's
There you go. Now, yeah, they didn't say you couldn't be in the hot tub, but they did say, I always heard like athletes, you're not supposed to, swim before. But
Yeah, swimming's one of those things that probably one of the harder things I did too. I was on a swim team for a summer, and I didn't realize how hard that was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty tough. So a lot of respect for those people that do that competitively. But yeah, we're not going to go there and swim laps or anything. We'll just kind of play around with the pool a little bit. And
kind of get you guys ready here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think you guys are going to be outstanding and amazing. That's going to be great. So about approximately like what time do you know for sure what time they'll be on the mat, or is it when we find out when you get there? Or?
Yeah, weigh-in's 8 to 8:30. They're on Central Time down there, so they're actually an hour behind us. So.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. That's good to know.
Yeah, Central Time. So their weigh-ins, these are their times. So weigh-ins 8 to 8:30. Wrestling round 1 should start at 9. Mason's a 113, so that's the second weight class. So there's 4 mats going, I believe. So they'll have the 106s, and then once the 106 weight class is done, then 113s will jump right into it. So Wyatt being 152, he's right in the middle of the weight classes. So he'll be, those first rounds and everything. It takes a while. A lot of those are 6-minute matches. Not a lot of first round pins. You're going to see some of them, but for the most part, those guys are taking it the full 6 minutes. So these rounds take a lot longer.
Well, it's for anybody that wants to, make sure that they come and support you guys, because I think, do you listen to the crowd when they're cheering you on?
No, I can't. I don't really hear anything while
Okay.
I'm wrestling. Occasionally I'll look over and hear Tank, but if I'm not looking at him, I don't really hear a lot.
It's kind of hard to hear at your own too. A lot of the sound kind of just gets pushed into one, but Tank's voice definitely stands alone in that moment. So.
I think Tank will be forever in your head. I think even when you're, older and, and I think forever Tank will be in your head.
Oh, anytime I hear somebody do like a whistle, it's just like, I'm looking around, I'm looking for him.
Yeah.
Like we were just at the basketball game last night, and someone did it, and I was like, I swear that was Tank just now.
Yeah, I don't know where he's at, but he's somewhere around us. He's keeping an eye on you two at all times.
Yeah.
That's great. What's the whistle? Just because you...
I can whistle loud.
Okay.
I remember I used to run cross country. You'd hear him whistle from across the course, and you're like, okay, I should probably start running fast.
Yeah.
Does that mean get in here now? Is that like the call
Get
of the
going.
wild? Is
I
that
don't know who's whistling at. I'm going to run faster.
That's great.
Just in case it's me.
That's right.
I think a lot, my thought process in that whenever I would do that for my cross country guys was always like, just kind of like, I'm here, kind of one of those things.
Aww.
That is kind of emotional for me. It was. I mean, it seemed always like a you better get going from a mean and like, oh no, here he is. But for me, it was always like, you've heard my voice, you've heard what I've told you, you've done the stuff and the things that I've told you to do, and that's just a reminder. It's like, hey, I'm not that far away. So.
I'd rather hear a whistle than a Marco.
Yeah.
I mean, right? I think that would be awesome. And I do know cross country. I mean, you're out there in the wilderness. And you're wondering, because, I'm a sprinter, not a distance. And when I'm out there, it's like, is there anybody, I was out there with the bears and the raccoons. Everybody else had already flown by.
May have gotten off the beaten
it's like my
path.
derby horse still waiting to come in. You know
Yes.
what I mean? But to hear that would have been very reassuring, like, oh, that's awesome. Yeah, somebody's believing in me. Somebody knows. That's awesome. Well, guys, I want to wish you good luck. Of course, you're outstanding. So, I mean, because you guys are seniors. I mean, are you not living the wonderful senior dream year? I mean, isn't this fantastic?
Yeah. I mean, it's alright.
No, I mean, really.
That's
I mean, this is a banner year for you guys. Look at this.
No, I'm just trying to make the most of it,
You are,
Yeah,
and you're
that's
doing
good.
fantastic. I mean, aren't you?
Yeah, just, one last ride, gonna do everything right, do the best I can, and kind of embrace the moment while I'm here. So.
Absolutely. What
That's
about
it.
you, Mason?
Yeah, it's been great, but at the end of the day, don't know how much more wrestling we'll have, so just try and take advantage of it now.
Live in the moment.
Absolutely.
At the moment.
Yeah.
It is fun to see these guys, like the things that they've done. But both of their finals matches were won in the third period. Mason's he got up early in points, and then this kid started cutting him and taking him down. Kind of got gassed a little bit there, but he worked so hard in those first 4 minutes that third period, he had to rely a lot on his wits and his mind to kind of do that. And caught a kid whenever he was coming. He cut him and let him go. Cut him and tried to take him down, and then tried to do it again, and Mason was ready for him and actually turned him and pinned him. And Wyatt's match, like it was kind of crazy how it all happened. We do a bunch of different drills in practice, but one of the drills that we do is, I set him up a scenario and say, hey, you're You're down 1, 15 seconds to go. It's the state finals. You got to score 1 to tie it or 2 to win it. And that's literally how it played out. He was down 1 point, 13 seconds left. They go out of bounds. He comes back and gets set. You know, and to see that, like, immediately, you know, I've been here. I've done this. I know. And looking at him, I yelled that, you know, but, like, I saw his face, and I remember turning over his dad, and I was like, he's going to do this. And sure enough, as time goes out, hits a nasty reversal and wins by 1 for the regional title. So both of them won in amazing fashion. So
Oh, I love that.
yeah,
You've got to
it
be
is
so proud
definitely a
of them.
storybook ride right now.
Wyatt had a slightly cooler celebration. I stood up, shook the guy's hand, raised my hand, and that was it. I was tired.
That's the humility of the sport too, man. We don't brag, we don't boast, we don't bang our chest. I mean, you shake the guy's hand, you go over and shake the coach's hand, and it's 2 warriors out there putting everything on the line, and one person's a winner and one person doesn't. So.
Well, you guys are both winners here, and I'm so proud of you, and can't wait to hear. And I don't know if I'll be able to get there, but I know that I'll definitely want to stay in. Please keep us in the know. I think we need to do this broadcast again sometime.
Yeah,
you know, your
absolutely.
dad was very colorful and very entertaining on his wrestling. His dad did a broadcasting a wrestling match. And first one ever on Wslm, and that was really entertaining. So we need to redo that.
Yeah, I would love to hear that. I never got the chance to hear it because I was coaching during it, but I would love to hear that broadcast.
Yeah, it was definitely, and he behaved himself. He was good. So
Good.
I was ready with the 3 second.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, he did good.
No, he's great. He's instilled a lot of stuff in me. You know, that fighter's mentality from day one, and
Yeah.
you know, it's something that I hold. You know, I cherish, and I try to share it. You know, it's something that I want to try to keep for myself, and I try to, you know, introduce it to all these people that I have as my athletes. So it's always it's a personal relationship for me, you know, because every person's different. Every sport that I coach, I treat all the kids not as like a blanket, like I would throw a blanket over all of them and say, this is how I'm going to treat everyone. Like, and I try to get to know each one of them and find out what makes them tick. And everybody's got a little bit of fire in them, so.
Yeah. Mason and Wyatt, Dennis just spoke a huge blessing, and that's pretty cool that he just said that because, you know, when you're given a gift, I believe that you should use it and share it. And gentlemen, you have been given a gift, Mason and Wyatt, and of course we'll wait to see, you know, as you get older and what you give back, because I'm sure you guys are going to be awesome. I mean, you're going to be.
And we got to give a shout out. You guys know. Have you been thinking about who you're going to give a shout out to before we
Oh yeah.
go off the air?
I have to think about it. Shout out to my parents.
There you go.
There you
They
go.
take me to all my tournaments and stuff like that, and practices before, you know, I could drive and everything. So they help me a lot over the summer, especially when school's out and I'm still trying to keep wrestling.
Oh yeah, shout out to my dad. You know, he's my coach at the end of the day. He's also my dad. I see him every night. We're always talking about wrestling, talking about the big match. You know, there's nobody that has more, you know, confidence in me or no one that believes in me more than him. You know, I could be wrestling anybody. You know, be wrestling an Olympic gold medalist, and he'd say, "You're stronger than this guy." All right, but I love that guy. He's definitely, you know, a big reason I'm here today. And, you know, Tank,
Yeah.
probably wouldn't be here without him either. But, you know, I think we got 2 of the best coaches around.
Yeah, I have to say, very much so. Yeah, you're very, very blessed for sure. Well, thank you guys for coming in. Thanks for bringing them in, Dennis.
Absolutely.
Yeah, outstanding, and thanks for letting us get to know you guys a little bit more. And you guys are pretty cool, pretty awesome. Yeah, definitely. And I thought about you. It was funny, after that Wednesday, I kept thinking, I wonder how they're doing. I wonder if they're doing good. And I wondered if you had got where you needed to be. I was worried about you on that.
Can I do a quick shout out?
Absolutely.
I didn't get mentioned. I got skipped over.
Sorry.
I want to give Bill a shout out too, man. It's definitely one of those things that, you know, the yin to my yang, having him there is a big deal. Christine Worley, another one, having her in the room. Women's wrestling is in full-fledged. We've got that going, and she's a big part of that. You know, she's also a nurse, so having her in the room is a big deal. So she gets kind of looked over, I think, on some of the stuff that we
This show is hot, other shows are not. This show is hot, other shows are not. I found mine, yes I have found my favorite place. Got to have my Rick and Bubba. I love mine, yes I do love my Rick and Bubba show. They just ain't like anybody. Rick and Bubba show. Rick and Bubba show.
7 minutes past the hour from the No Name Studio, living on the bleeding edge of technology. It is the Rick and Bubba Show. Been around now for over 29 years. Working our way to our 30th anniversary. Speedy, the real Greg Burgess, Helmsy here. Adler out back tomorrow. And Blazing Silverman covering that. And we welcome back Bill Bubba Bussey.
Rick, glad to be here. Thank all of you for what you do to let us do what we do here on the Rick and Bubba Show.
All right, so Rick and Bubba University, the podcast, has become a new feature that we do a unique podcast, about a 45-minute conversation with a guest or amongst ourselves. That's a little added thing most weeks. We don't do it every week, but we do it most weeks. And one of our more popular guests deals with the Missing 411 franchise. And Bubba, we have David, is it Pilatus?
Yeah, Pilatus.
Back on the podcast the weekend of March the 2nd. We'll record it that day, and then it'll come out that weekend. And we'll be talking about his latest installment, People Missing, and folks saying that one of the possibilities of how they vanished is tied to UFOs. And you watched it last night.
Yeah, Rick, this is a continuation of the series. If you saw Missing 411, it was about people and kids that went missing in national parks. Mm-hmm. And then Missing 411, the hunt, it was hunters that had disappeared.
Right.
And then he never really draw a conclusion in those. He kind of presented the facts and let you decide. But this one is about Missing 411, the UFO connection. And it has to do with out west in an area where there's a lot of elk hunting and things. And
Skinwalker Ranch?
He documents several cases out there.
You know, we got Skinwalker coming back.
Yeah,
too.
I know. It's gonna be a good time.
And Bigfoot Bob's back.
I got Travis Walton lined up.
But I think we have the trailer here. Let's look at it right quick, and then I'll tell you about one of the cases.
Sorry.
I thought you got it.
Oh, no, I do. He was just doing B-roll. Okay,
Yeah.
You good? All right, we're ready.
Let's listen.
Everybody's mad.
Wow.
Mad about it. Scare me.
Here we go.
All right, everybody, here we
Skate.
go.
This is the location of a missing hunter.
So it looks like people are snatched off the ground, and then some of them are dropped back miles and miles away.
For thousands of years, the human species has looked to the skies in amazement at unidentified objects. We are staring at unconventional possibilities supported by witnesses, video, and most recently, our own government. I have investigated hundreds of cases that push the limits of standard everyday police protocol.
The 3 witnesses saw this object picking up the elk.
There was no cable. Nothing discernible holding the elk to the crowd.
I know what happened to me. It happened in 1974. Next thing I know, I was in this cubicle.
In many stories, children are right there, and then the next second they're gone. After reading thousands of reports, I started to document what is called profile points. The number one profile point is lack of scent trail.
It was unusual that they had that many tracking dogs and never found a track.
The more you hear, the stranger the story gets. Why send a SWAT team on a missing person case?
When I saw that, that's when I, went down on my knees.
They are connected to extra-dimensional beings. Those are real. How do you explain to a grieving family that something paranormal may be tied to the disappearance?
I hope you're happy.
Let me tell you,
UFO connection.
I suggest you watch this before it gets dark. It is a little bit unnerving, Rick, some of the cases.
You buying it, Bubba?
He is. He's bought
No,
in.
He's always bought
in
it.
I'm just saying that
How about that elk?
we know this. There's people who disappear out in the woods, and we can't find them, and there's no trace,
Yeah.
and that just shouldn't happen. Now, I do think some of them fall in old wells.
I knew that was
And,
coming.
Well,
Voice from the sky on that magical night.
I've even got a couple of pretty good documented cases on people disappearing in wells and almost falling in wells and that kind of thing.
Documented?
Well, I mean,
You know
I've
somebody
talked
fell in a
to
well?
I've talked to him personally.
Really?
Yeah, I talked to one yesterday, as a matter of fact, and he was about 2 steps from falling in a well, and a guy who was there working with him told him to stop.
Yeah.
Where he was.
Yeah, there's no doubt that has happened.
Stop.
Had
So,
a guy lose a hunting dog in a well, 20 foot deep.
did you hear it down there going, oh?
Right? He said they finally got it out, but it wasn't in good shape from the fall.
Yeah, no.
And I warned me just a few weeks ago
Yeah.
about an old home place, and
Yeah.
he said, be careful. He said, there's probably 1 or 2 wells up there. And you know, now
Any old home place.
now we drill them, you know, and you just have a pipe. But in the old days, they had to hand dig them, so you had to have, you know, it was 7-8 foot square to get down in there and get the dirt out. So,
I'm only going to talk about
and
the
they didn't cover those up, really.
I'm only going to talk about the possibilities of people that have never been found, and it's under the vanished possibility. Because there are people, sadly, that get murdered and we find them.
Yes.
There are people that get killed by beasts and we find that. We find something that's sad stuff. And people who fall off high places to their death,
Right.
and that fall in wells.
I think a lot of them that disappear are falls. You know, I told you,
Yeah.
I looked at like 10 cases of people who had fallen, were missing for 24 hours, and then were found.
And then we have
and
that.
maybe of those 10, like 6 of them had fallen.
And then we have the people who want it to vanish, and they put
Right.
it together themselves,
Right.
because
That's
they're trying to vanish.
Right.
And you got that, and then then you got this bunch, the people abducted by UFOs. But now we're going to have people interviewed in this latest documentary, and we've interviewed 2, I think ourselves, maybe 3, people that didn't disappear. They're telling us what happened to them, and they're still here.
Well,
Yeah.
one of the cases in this guy claims he was abducted, that he was taken somewhere, that he was examined, and that the aliens told him that he was not suitable. He was not a good specimen, if you will, and they were going to return him. And he,
not bad.
but let me tell you this.
Stupid aliens don't
Let me tell you the evidence for this, and maybe the medical community, some of the people could tell us, but because I don't know. But he had TB when he was younger, and they actually showed his lung X-rays, and you see scarring. It's like circles in his lungs. When he come back, he didn't have that. When they checked him out after he was returned, he didn't have that. Now I don't know.
So when he came back, they had like repaired it.
His lungs
Got
were
little
clear.
fingers.
His lungs were clear, and they have the X-rays to show it before and after. So I mean, that's pretty good proof. Unless this happens naturally, do the scarring from TB go away in your lungs over time? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it does. Maybe it does.
Now I know a guy who was cured of Parkinson's. It was miraculous.
Right.
Sure, in one day.
But this was a whole different thing. Anyway, David Pilatus does a good job with these, and he, in the previous ones, Rick, he kind of presents the facts and lets you decide. This one, he is a little more directed into. We have people who are seeing things in these woods. Their stories are similar. Some of them we never find. Some of them come back, and he's kind of presented that. It's a little unnerving, some of it. You know, and I'm glad it's the end of hunting season, not the beginning of it.
No, we don't watch this at the beginning. I wish you'd have seen my.
And I'm excited about having him on again.
I wish you'd have seen
Our last podcast was really good.
Yeah, I wish you'd have seen it. It's the number one most viewed as far as the YouTube. I don't know about the audio, but how about when you? I wish you. I had fun. I came in and Chester Cherry. Before I say this, I don't want you to get emotional. I don't want you to overreact. I don't want you to be upset. She was what? I said, I think deer season's over. She was like, oh, how will I get through the day?
But we have some postseason work to do, honey.
I want to know about the TV.
Rick and Bubba.
These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps find the right people for your team, faster and for free. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/Bubba. That's linkedin.com/Bubba to post your job for free. Or visit rickandbubba.com under the sponsors for a link. Terms and conditions apply. Skip extra trips to the grocery store and spend more time doing the things you love with tasty HelloFresh recipes and fresh pre-portioned ingredients delivered right to the door. HelloFresh has 40 weekly recipes and over 70 seasonal and convenience items to choose from for more choices than ever before. Sign up today for 65% off plus free shipping with the code BUBBA at HelloFresh.com/Bubba. That's the code BUBBA at HelloFresh.com/Bubba. Hey guys, this Valentine's Day, give her a gift she's really going to love with soft, silky, naturally smooth pajamas. These are available exclusively from our friends at Pajamagram. Soft and smooth, these amazing pajamas will feel as soft as her own skin, and she's going to love them. And she'll love slipping into these on every night because they're so soft and luxurious. Why don't you order today and use promo code RADIO, and Pajamagram will include free Valentine's Day deluxe packaging, which includes a red velvet gift bag, lotion, and an eye mask. That's a $40 savings with the code RADIO on a best-selling Valentine's Day total gift experience. Valentine's Day done right with a gift she'll love. Listen, if you missed out on this offer during Christmas, don't make the same mistake twice. Give her these pajamas and order today, because last year they sold out before Valentine's Day. Here's what to do. Go to Pajamagram.com right now. Use the code RADIO. That's Pajamagram.com with the code RADIO to order and tell them Rick and Bubba sent you.
Research shows listeners prefer a personalized experience. So to help you remember, Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance. We personalized this ad for Amber, who really misses boy bands from the 90s.
Hey girl, I'm the cute one, here to tell you how Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
I'm the heartthrob. The only thing I love more than you is Sadie. And I'm the other boy in the band everyone forgot about.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Wendy's home-style French toast sticks are so delicious, some are saying that they're better than their mom's breakfast.
Excuse me, did you just say Wendy's French toast sticks are better than my breakfast?
Mom, is that you?
Answer the question.
I said some people are saying that because they're so crispy on the outside and fluffy on the inside and perfect in every way.
Uh-huh. And what do you think?
I think it's time to tell people to choose wisely. Choose Wendy's sweet and crispy home-style French toast sticks.
That's still not an answer.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Need weekend plans? Check out what's happening at your local Lowe's. Weekending at Lowe's gives you and your family the opportunity to make us your weekend destination. Join us in-store for free giveaways, events, and activities for everyone to enjoy. This month, stop by for fun events like our 2-day Super Bowl prep party and our Valentine's-themed kids workshop. Visit Lowe's.com/events for this month's full lineup. Count on Lowe's for all your home improvement needs. And now, activities in your community with Weekending at Lowe's.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save the typical family $500 a month. And that's huge, but it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The customer satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. MediShare works. It's been around for more than a quarter century, and members have shared more than $3 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE. 855-51-BIBLE.
All right, folks, you've heard us talking about what Relief Factor can do for your pain for several years now. If you struggle with occasional aches and pains due to aging, exercise, everyday living, consider this. Relief Factor is 100% drug-free. It's made up of ingredients that simply help your own body deal with its natural inflammatory response. And we kid you not, Relief Factor is for real. And the majority of people who ordered the 3-week quick start for just $19.95 go on to order more. Try it at ReliefFactor.com or RickandBubba.com under the sponsor. 41 minutes past the hour of the Rick and Bubba Show, 866 We Be Big. Thanks for being with us. All 10 lines are now available for you, and you can go grab them. We'll chat with you. You can talk about the latest missing 411 that Bubba saw last night. You can bring up any topic you want to, ask a question, bring information to the table. Not designed for meaningless shout-outs or shameless plugs. Those will get instant buzzards. But you can get in here and ask a question. You can make a comment. You can bring information to the table. Wednesday Bible study back today on our YouTube channel live, noon Central, 1 o'clock Eastern. We will be discussing the next letter to the 7 churches, Thyatira. Everybody in the says, Rick, we can't wait to hear you pronounce that today in the Wednesday Bible study. We'll talk about that today, and that'll be live at noon, 1 o'clock Central, and then archived soon after. If you have time to grab a phone call, do it right now because there's plenty of room available. We'll start with Earl. Earl's getting us started on the troll. Earl, you got 30 seconds, brother. Go right ahead, 30 seconds.
Hey, President Burgess, when you get elected, are you going to float over a balloon over China, maybe like a B-boy balloon, like one of those Macy Day make-the-brain balloons?
Yes.
A balloon shaped like a boy.
Yeah, I know. Good idea. I'm going to fly it over China and say there's a new big boy in town.
That'll fly
That's
Snoopy right over Beijing.
Yes, that's what it's going to say. And it's going to say it's a new day. Let's go to Jack out of Sweet Home, Alabama. Room for you if you want to dial us at 866 We Be Big. Jack, go ahead. 30 seconds.
Morning, man.
Hey, buddy.
I was wanting to ask you, Rick, about the book of Mark where they handle and pick up serpents and drink poison, and the snake handling churches, and want to kind of get your opinion on that.
I would kindly, and Bubba and I have talked about this before, and Bubba chime as well, but I would kindly and very lovingly say to them that I believe that is a misinterpretation of the Scriptures, because, and one of the things you want to look for is we don't serve a God that contradicts himself. And God has made it very clear that we don't test him. You know, I don't go stand out in the middle of 65 today to show how faithful I can be. Right. And so we don't test. And what's being talked about there is more in line when Jesus says, you know, if you had the faith of a mustard seed, you could tell that mountain to move and it throw itself into the... These are more of discussing the power of God and the power of faith and us overcoming eternal death because of Christ. Because we know that we are not to put him to the test. If you go and look at this too, you look in John 15, when Jesus is giving the speech about the power of abiding in him, which is, man, it's God really took me to that place in Scripture when I was doing walk through the Gospel of John, and it really, really spoke to me and about how Jesus is saying, I'm so powerful that if you abide in me and I abide in you, I will produce in you much fruit, because apart from me, you can't do anything. Well, in the teaching he's giving the disciples at the time, he makes a comment that, but you have to get the concept of everything he's talking about. Anything you ask in my name, you know, my Father's going to give it to you. And you go, oh wow, there's that health, wealth, and prosperity. But you've got to read everything he's saying. What he's saying is, if we're abiding in him, that we become so much like him, and the power of his Spirit so transforms us that we stop asking for things that are not in God's will. We don't ask for the wrong things anymore. It's not, I continue to ask for the wrong thing and then God will give it to me, because he said he would. No, we're so immersed in him and have been so transformed, we stop asking for the wrong things. And here, this is supposed to be talking about the power of God. Just because God could heal you from a snake bite and he could keep poison from killing you, doesn't mean you start handling snakes and drinking poison to show how faithful you are. Yeah. That's testing God.
Yeah, and a lot of times they refer back to when Paul was shipwrecked.
Correct.
And gathering firewood, and he got bit by a serpent and didn't, do him any harm.
Right.
But it didn't say he went and looked for the snake hole to put his hand in.
And God's taking him to where he's going, and nothing's going to stop it.
Right.
And then, but because you could take that same analogy, and you've heard me say this before, but I think it's important. If you believe that's what that's talking about, well, then you go over here, and Paul's got a thorn in his flesh that God's not removed. Right. So is this faith not as good then? So
Yeah,
you got to be real careful with that.
You can't take any of these things out of context of the entire story, the entire New Testament, the entire Bible. It's much more clear when you look at it in the full context.
Yeah, did Peter have more faith than James because the angel waited till James had already been killed by Herod? Then he went and let Peter out. So did James not have as much faith as Peter? No, James was done. Did John the Baptist not have enough faith because he got beheaded by Herod? No, he completed what he's supposed to do.
Right.
I mean, you got to be careful with all that. And I think it's dangerous, frankly. To the phones we go. Jack, go right ahead. 30 seconds.
Dr. Bussey.
Yes, sir.
I kept this conundrum for you. Since tomatoes are a fruit, would ketchup not be a smoothie?
You make a great point.
That's good.
Technically, it would be.
Yeah. Wes in Alabama.
Way above it, way before its time.
30 seconds, Wes. Go ahead.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
The Bubba is 411.